For this video, we will be discussing ethics and social responsibility. This is the agenda. First, we'll cover the definition of ethics. Then we'll talk about the types of ethical concerns. After that, we will discuss the factors that affect ethical behavior. Next, we will cover the topic on how to encourage ethical decision-making in business. We will review the evolution of social responsibility in business, then explore how businesses are responsible to the public, which includes consumer rights and public health. Then we will review how employment practices are being used to counteract past abuses. We will cover major environmental issues and businesses' response to them. Then we will review the steps a business must take to implement a program of social responsibility. All of these topics covered in this video will be based on the material in the textbook, Introduction to Business by Lawerence Gitman and his colleagues, which is a free textbook published by OpenStax in 2018. Business ethics refers to the principles and standards that guide behavior in the business world. It involves making decisions that are morally right and socially responsible. It applies to all aspects of business, including day-to-day operations and long-term goals and strategies. This could include providing employees with handbooks detailing the standards of practice. Employee manuals offer guidelines for behavior in the work environment, but sometimes companies also have a detailed code of ethics. Why do you think ethics is important in business? The types of ethical concerns in business include conflict of interest, fairness and honesty in marketing, pricing practices, price discrimination, employee rights, workplace safety, and environmental responsibility. Can you think of any recent news events or stories involving business ethical issues? Here are some of the factors that affect ethical behavior in the workplace. They include individual moral standards, organizational culture and values, leadership and management practices, peer influence and group dynamics, industry norms and regulations, societal expectations and pressures. How might these factors interact to influence ethical decision-making? To encourage ethical behavior in an organization, it is important to develop and communicate a clear code of ethics, provide training and education to employees, establish reporting mechanisms for ethical concerns, lead by example and model the behavior you want to see. Another way to encourage ethical behavior is to implement reward systems that promote ethical conduct. How would you design an ethics program for your company? When making ethical decisions, you must consider the following steps. First, identify the ethical issues that are being addressed. Second, get the facts. What is the truth? Third, evaluate alternative options. And fourth, choose an option for action, then test it and see if it works. Let's review the evolution of social responsibility. Traditionally, most corporations were mainly concerned with profit maximization, meaning that they cared mostly about making a profit and increasing production. After the 1950s and 60s, companies started to have a growing awareness of some of the social issues that were going on in society. In the 1970s, there was an emergence of corporate social responsibility, and in the 1990s and 2000s, stakeholder theory and sustainable business practices became more common, meaning that companies had more consideration of their needs of their consumers and anyone who had been impacted by their product or service. Presently, companies are integrating social responsibility into their core business strategies, such as recycling or offering employees a share of the company, time off for school, scholarships, childcare, and so on. What factors do you think drove this evolution? Corporations have a responsibility to the public. That responsibility is to ensure product safety, honest advertising, and fair pricing. They must also protect consumer privacy and data, contribute to community development, promote public health initiatives, and support education and skill development. Can you think of companies that excel in these areas? Some best practices for organizations to include in their goals for providing an ethical and socially responsible workplace are to provide a diversity and equity inclusion initiative, develop and implement equal opportunity employment practices, offer work life balance programs, fair compensation and benefits for employees, and provide employee development and career growth opportunities, as well as anti harassment and anti discrimination policies that will help support all employees and employers in securing a safe and inclusive workplace for all stakeholders. How do these policies benefit both employees and businesses? Some environmental issues that corporations need to consider are climate change, resource depletion, pollution, and biodiversity loss. Businesses' responses to these are sustainable supply chain management, which means that they are not overpackaging or overproducing items, using resources as needed, and not contributing to environmental waste or contradicting sustainability efforts. Using renewable energy can be another way businesses are responding to some of these social concerns. Businesses are also adopting waste reduction and recycling programs and investing in green product innovation. What do you think businesses could do to address some of these environmental challenges? Here are some steps to help businesses in implementing a social responsibility program. First, the business must assess their current practices and identify areas for improvement. Second, they should set clear goals and objectives for social responsibility. Then develop strategies and actions to reach those goals and objectives. After that, engage stakeholders and secure buy-in for those suggested improvements. After approval from stakeholders, managers can allocate resources and align responsibilities for each employee. Then implement initiatives and monitor progress. Continuously measuring and reporting results of the implementation and always seeking to improve and adapt to new changes. Why is it important for businesses to have a structured approach to social responsibility?